Hey guys, welcome to my OraczArt Patreon review series, hopefully series. So I will just do feedbacks for 3 last posts on the feedback channel, since you can see that it's kind of dead right now. Hopefully my fans / supporters on Patreon would like to start posting over here again. I will just start by reading the posts, and then I will do some, overdrawing on Photoshop and discussing the points I would like to improve, or I know sometimes fix a little bit. And hopefully this is this can help someone. First person will be Casimir, and Casimir says, "Hey, I've painted this old mini from the Eldorado game for the upcoming Reddit mini painting challenge." Yeah, I think that the Reddit mini painting challenge is closed right now, but don't mind that. Hope you like it. Would love to hear your critique and feedback. Cheers. First of all, I want to say that I give feedback only to people who posted on the feedback channel, okay? So if you want the feedback, just go there, put stuff over there. I won't critique anything that is on work in progress or finished paintings. Okay, so we have like this miniature over here, as you can see. I will focus on stuff that, in my opinion, is the, first of all, maybe easiest to fix, and then maybe can improve the most the painting or the work. Okay, so I think that it's a good composition, not very complicated. Composition works pretty fine. I really like the simplicity of it, so there is not that much overcomplicated color scheme going around. I wanted to highlight it because I really like when people don't overcomplicate stuff. So we have like main colors over here, and then some violet browns over here with some desaturated yellows over here. So we don't have strong contrast right now because we have only the turquoise emeralds are very, very saturated and very strong, with some blues that are actually very close on the color wheel. And then we go from basically those intense colors with a little bit of the saturated yellow and the saturated violet browns to red, which is placed like completely on the opposite side of the color wheel, and that really puts very strong impact on the eyes of this character. And this is good because when we look at the character, we really look at its eyes in the first place. So the very strong points of red basically put the focus right where it should belong. Also, I think that usually we have issues with identifying, or issues with connecting with the characters that have that their faces are covered with masks, and in this case you really bring attention to the eyes, so it kind of brings up the soul of the character more maybe in this way. And I just like how the red highlights the maybe aggressive aspect of this character. Yeah, so I really like the composition. Just wanted to highlight it. The color combinations work very, very nice. I wouldn't change anything in this aspect. I would basically work around like 2 fixes when it goes to the composition of the base. So the backdrop is very easy and very simple, and it works great over here. I would just maybe slightly change the coordination of the colors, because right now we have a highlight over here on the top. Usually it would be better if we kept the highlight more to the character. So I will try to move the highlight from the or the lighter areas from the backdrop a little bit lower, so it would be placed behind the miniature, and this way we would kind of highlight the darker silhouette of the character. So let's see how it can work. Okay, so here we have the difference between the previous background, where the character was kind of drowning into the darker background, and with the very shiny red eyes it wasn't that bad, because the very bright red eyes on the darker background looked like kind of more intense, right? But the issue is that the very strong bright emerald color on the top, on the like trim of the background, actually was stealing the attention from the miniature, because the emerald over here is stronger than any of the saturated colors on the miniatures except red. So this color over here was basically creating like a not completely necessary counterbalance point in the composition, because we were in the first place we wanted to look over here and then over here. Now there are no correct ways to go around painting, as long as something looks like you design it to look like, it's okay. But if you want to like create more standard composition, it would be better to bring the intense color to kind of play more with the character. So I would actually go with something like this. And here you can see that the strong emerald is actually contrasting a little bit stronger with the red eyes. If we wanted to make the red eyes shine more, we could actually just paint darker color around them to counterbalance it. So basically something like that. See? Right now they are contrasted with the light eyes are contrasted with the darker area on the mask. We still have a little bit, like a lot of gold around it. And then the silhouette is contrasted by the emerald, and emerald contrasts very, very strongly with the red, because actually red is placed much closer to this emerald than before. Before it was kind of further away, and also first we were looking at the very strong red, and then we were jumping into emerald, and right now emerald is basically highlighting the silhouette. So I think that it works a little bit better. And one more change I would do is actually putting stronger shadow on the base. So the base doesn't matter that much actually. Right now on this photo is kind of blurred, and we don't care about it that much because the character is the most important and the base is just there. It's nice that it's painted, it's nice that it's done in a nice way, and with making some of the areas darker, so for sure I would kind of do stronger washes on around those tiles over here. Then you could also highlight some of the like just dry brush some of the vegetation on the base. That also makes it look much nicer. So yeah, this is like the basically creating stronger composition on the base. So highlighting the silhouette with the different placement of emerald, and then stronger shadows on the base, because base frames miniature, and usually the frame works better when it's either darker or more toned down. So we are basically creating better framing for the miniature with the darker base. And then like fixing the coloration on the face just to contrast the eyes even more. And on top of that, I would take a little bit of this emerald, because it's very, very strong color, and we have metallic colors all over the miniature. And metal is a reflective surface, right? It should reflect colors. So I would take this emerald and I would kind of paint it, even wash it a little bit, and wash it into the different metallics all around the miniature, just to make those reflective element, in particular like ones closer or facing down. It would make it more coherent, more homogenic with everything that goes around in this painting. I think like those are my 3 or 4 pointers. So one, backdrop, highlight the silhouette. Secondary, the base, to frame the miniature better, make it darker basically to frame the miniature. Then I would dark spot on the face to contrast eyes, and then add emerald to stuff. Yeah. So this is it. Painting in general is very, very good. Those are just a few pointers that can kind of improve it, in my opinion, also. And yeah, hopefully it's helpful for you. Next miniature. Next one is from Henry. I have painted this one last year, but repainted some parts now. Stronger colors using inks, maybe too much, more contrast, OSL, and overall gloomy vibes. I really like the colors and contrasts over here. There is a lot going on, so to check how it works, we can use Gaussian blur, whatever, on this miniature. The same effect you will achieve by basically squinting your eyes and looking at something, blurring your vision. It's a good exercise to check how your composition works, basically. For me, there's just a little bit too much saturation going on, and in general it's painted in a very nice way, but I think that there is a lot of colors and we have, on top of the colors, we have OSL effect, and there is just too much brightness to highlight all of the ideas over here. So I would try to maybe focus on making the OSL more like visually intense, so it would be easier to understand. And basically keeping maybe most of the colors over here as they are, but maybe adding more darkness over here on the bottom. Let's see how it works. I will start with painting more shadows on the bottom side of the miniature, closer to the OSL, and we have OSL visible from 2 directions, over here and over here, with the nice sparks displaying this idea over here. So I will just instantly make the dress darker. My thinking is that the further away we go from the light source, and the main light source is usually somewhere on the top above the miniature, the darker it will get. Also, the darkness will underline or like kind of contrast our OSL. OSL is like object source lighting, so light casted by or generated by some objects placed around the miniature. So over here we can like kinda deduct that there are some kind of bonfires around the miniature and they are casting lighting. So to make the lighting more visually intense, I want to contrast it with darker areas around it. With the OSL, the issue is that to make the viewer understand that he's looking at, it really needs to be painted very strongly, very well. And I think that my issue with colors on this miniature is that they are very, very bright, and the whole painting is very bright, very saturated, and usually OSL is the most saturated color on the miniature. And right now, without the shadows, everything looks like it's shining on it, like on its own, and the orange light, like the areas lit by the orange light, looks like they are just orange, because this orange from the bonfire is almost as light as the orange on the sleeves, for example. So I think that first of all I would paint more shadows and to underline the OSL effect, and then I would eliminate orange from the other, like, or at least the major orange part of the painting, just to kind of color code the OSL. So it would be right away known, okay, orange, I'm looking at the lighting source, and everything else is the miniature. In theory, everything got much darker, but also it's easier to understand that what's going on over here with the orange and with the sparks. I created the base for easier to understand OSL. So now I would work on the OSL placements. The sparks over here, we can assume that they are there are like bonfire sources over here and over here, and we have two very strong OSL placements on those sides, but we miss the OSL placements everywhere else, basically. In my opinion, it should be over here. It should be lighting the sides of her shoes as well. It should be visible on the grass. There should be more OSL on the elements over here, basically. Also maybe cast it like slightly over here. And then you could even paint some of the sparks around the miniature. Also on the edge of the sword, it's very important in my opinion. I think that right now, even without those two kind of bonfires visible in the picture, it's easier to understand what's the lighting situation on the bottom, just because it's stronger, it's easier to read. Also, it's not counterbalanced by the other oranges visible. See what's the difference? Even with the additional oranges painted all around, you cannot see that actually the orange is the lighting source from the bonfires, because we have orange over here, which is just a color of the base color of the clothing, right? And we have stronger yellows present over here. With the uncorrected yellow, it looks even less intense. And with the saturating yellow, look at the difference. Okay, got the color. The changes I would bring again. One, I would bring the order to the colors. Basically color code and color coordinate your project. And then I would paint more shadows on the bottom. Add more OSL basically. So paint the rest of the effects that should be present on the miniature. Yeah, so this is it basically. And here are the changes before and after. Yeah. And the third miniature for today is from Sgt. Pepper 234, who is doing very good progress in his miniature painting, and I respect it a lot. And he says, my competition piece for Kujo's competition, it's okay, I'm not hopeful of placing, I think I did the best I could with a really shitty mini. Very solid approach to your project. In my previous feedbacks, like from the stream, I focused mostly on giving kind of more basic feedback for Sgt. Pepper, and this time I will talk more about the composition of the base of the miniature. So this guy is kind of tilted down forward. So I would basically take this this angle, which is like 45-degree to the miniature, and I would kind of put it as a front of the miniature. I'm not sure if it translates, it's hard to Photoshop, but I would kind of tilt it slightly so it wouldn't be just, you know, face first into the edge of the base. I would kind of put it on the angle because I think that it would make it more interesting, and also I think that the composition of the miniature is kind of goes from this side, so I would display it from display this side of the miniature more to the front of the base. So this is my first feedback actually. And with this one, I think that I would mainly work more on the shadows, and I will start with the shadows on the base. But something like that, and then I would also paint this in a darker color, probably black. Because making it much darker will bring more attention to the composition over here. So again, it's about framing. Lighter bases brings more attention to the composition and to the miniature, and you can see like how big the difference is over here and over here. Right now the wooden base is actually lighter than most of the browns in the composition, and by making the base darker, we're bringing the attention back up to the miniature. And then by adding more shadows to the base, we are again like making this effect even stronger, so pushing your attention higher to the miniature. I think that the composition over here works pretty nice. Because we have lighter, like blonde bird near his face with the nicely highlighted helm, and those are like the lightest colors, I think, like maybe aside the hammer, but I like the interaction between the elements. And then we have like a punch of color with the how it's called, with the tartan. I know that this is not the correct name, but tartan. It brings some interest. I really like it. What more? I think that you could push even more your black lining, and this is something I said before. So I think that you've already pushed it, and because you can see like clearly this little black lining over here and over here, but you can make it even stronger. Just add more of it. So for example, I would add a line over here just to show the anatomy a little bit more, or under the ring over here, or actually over here. But this is kind of, you know, nitpicking. You are already going in the right direction, so this is just adding even more layers of detail. I think that the eyes could be a little bit darker, so I would just basically paint like a line over the eyes you've painted before, just to bring more attention to the face. You could highlight part of the bird closest and the nose a little bit stronger to bring more attention to the face. Okay, so turn the mini a little bit, more shadows on the base, plus black planet and more black lining. And then I would do stronger highlights around the face, and that's all. Yeah, so this is it, I think, for this one. Sgt. Pepper, you are doing very good progress, and I like it a lot. Oh yeah, and guys, big thank you to everyone who submitted their works. Hey.